Alright, are we ready for spring? Spring is just around the corner and it feels like spring here in California. In fact, the last week and a half to 2 weeks in California, in San Francisco, it's been pretty warm and spring is blooming everywhere. And I've got 20 fragrances here that are designers for men and from the regular lineup, not the signature collections, all appropriate for spring. And if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, spring is around the corner and I've got 20 fragrances that are perfect to wear into spring. These are fragrances from the designers, a variety of designers, all appropriate for spring, all from the signature line fragrances, nothing private blend exclusives or anything, and they're all targeted to men. So this is a men fragrances video, but I feel like a lot of these fragrances are very unisex. But if you are tuning into the channel for the first time and still haven't subscribed to the channel, there's a subscribe button below. Please click that and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Let's jump right into it. So the first one we're going to talk about today is from the house of Bottega Veneta, and this is Bottega Veneta pour Homme. This one actually was a fragrance that was grew on me, and it slowly grew on me, and I really appreciate this one. It kind of slowly hints at Memo Paris's Russian leather, which is a lot more expensive than what you have here. It's Siberian pine leather, Canadian fir, juniper, patchouli, bergamot, and there's a very cooling kind of a frosty side to the fragrance with all those notes along with the warm leather notes. So everything around it is very cool. The only thing that's in here that's warm is the leather, so it's kind of a contrast of cool and warm. Although I feel like the leather dries down to leather. At the top it's more aromatic and piney, and a wonderful release, and I feel like this is perfect for spring. And I wanted to include this other one here from the house of Bottega Veneta, and let me find the label. This is it right here, Illusione for him. Now, why am I including this one? I feel like even though it's very light and it feels a little incomplete, and the reason I say it's a little incomplete because I feel like it's not dense enough. It's not as dense as Bottega Veneta pour Homme. I feel like this is very, very light. But I think it's perfect for like warmer spring days and you can get away with it. I feel like this is perfect more for the person that doesn't like a very strong scent, and that's why I feel like it's a little incomplete. But what you have here is lots of bitter orange, lots of lemon, and then you have some fir resin, again, similar to this, but they're not identical. It's a similar idea, I think. Some cedarwood and vetiver thrown in, and it's a lemony, what do you call it? Lemony, woody, kind of a aromatic fragrance. Again, it's not a complete, like a very dense fragrance, but I feel like it's appropriate when it gets really hot outside and you want something a little different than your typical freshie. Anyway, that's Bottega Veneta Illusione for him. Another one for you to try. All right, this next one is from the house of Lalique, and this is Pour Homme EGOISTE right here. So this is a fairly new fragrance for me that I picked up, and I really wanted to start really venturing into the collection of Lalique fragrances for men, and I had not really worn this one, and I really enjoy it for spring. I feel like even though it's a heavier woody scent, I feel like it's not as heavy and dense, and you can get away with wearing it in the cooler days, even like a little more on the warmer side of spring. I feel like it's a very, very classy men's fragrance, and this one focuses on juniper berries, sequoia, vetiver, cardamom, nutmeg, violet leaves, bergamot. And when I wear it, it comes off a little peppery, even though there's no pepper note listed in there. I think the combination of the notes kind of act peppery. A wonderful release. There's two versions of Lalique pour Homme. The other one's more lavender. This one's more juniper and woody with the sequoia note. This is Pour Homme EGOISTE from Lalique. So this next one I had featured recently in a Lalique pickups video, and it's a Lalique Hommage à la Homme Voyageur. This one right here. Where have I been, and why didn't I pick this one up long ago? Because I feel like this is a great scent. Again, it's a more of a dense fragrance. It's a more of a deeper and richer fragrance, with the fact that there's patchouli, vetiver, papyrus, oak moss, and cardamom here. It's a woody, aromatic, spicy fragrance, and a little goes a long way, but I feel like it's still appropriate for spring because it's not really ultra heavy, but some of the notes come off a little heavy. But it's a very, very classy fragrance. There are lots of earthy elements and woody elements and aromatic stylings to this fragrance. Great scent. This is Lalique Hommage à la Homme Voyageur. Now this next one is from the house of Mugler, and this is Crypto Mint and this is a minty rendition of the Mugler Amen DNA. Got lots of mint, patchouli, there's chocolate in there. The chocolate and mint combo is very, very unique here. It doesn't smell like those famous over-the-counter, chocolates with mint in it. It's a little more interesting here. I got tonka beans and vanilla in here. The Amen DNA is in there, but it's a minty twist. It's a gourmand mint fragrance and really delicious. And this is another one of those that's I think is very, very unisex. In fact, I feel like the collection from Mugler for men is very, very unisex. If you like mint, then this is definitely one for you to try. And I feel like this is definitely appropriate for spring. So this is Mugler's Crypto Mint, Amen Crypto Mint. Okay, this next one is from the House of Mugler again. I've got 2 Muglers on this list. This is Alien Man, and not a lot of people talk about this one, but I really do like it because of the anise and dill together. There's also leather, cashmere wood, there's some amber, mint, and beech wood note. It's a very, very unique fragrance. This is one that I really like, and I love that licoricey kind of a vibe, and it's, I think, perfect for spring. It's not too light, it's not too heavy. It's a nice balance of light and heavy together, which makes it very, very appropriate for spring. Plus it's green and spicy and woody, and I feel like it complements the fresh spring weather out there. So this is Alien Man from the House of Mugler. I think it's a very solid release. Definitely give it a try if you like the idea of the notes. This next one is from the House of Moschino, and this is Toy Boy. This one right here, I have a full review of this one. In fact, a lot of these fragrances I have full reviews of. Now this one I feel like could be a little strong, but this one's a very, very solid release from the House of Moschino, which I wore Moschino back in the 90s for men, but they hadn't really impressed me up until this one. And I bought it in Italy when I was there because I loved the way it smelled. And in the heat and humidity in Italy, it was really coming alive. What's going on with this one is pink pepper, magnolia, nutmeg, rose, cashmere. So it's a fruity, woody, floral combination. And it's dense, it's heavy, but I think it's great. Again, this one also seems very unisex to me. It doesn't seem ultra masculine, but it's a great offering from a designer, and it hints at a little bit of Byredo's unnamed fragrance. A little bit, not too much. It reminds me of that fragrance for some reason. It's got an interesting DNA that kind of complements the Byredo DNA, especially the unnamed fragrance. But a wonderful release. This is awesome. Check it out. Toy Boy from the House of Moschino. This next one is from the House of Dunhill, and this is Century. This one right here. Century is all about Cypriol, Neroli, Sandalwood, Olibanum, grapefruit, cardamom. So it's a spicy, aromatic, woody fragrance. It does hint a little bit at Santal 33 from the House of Le Labo. I do have a video about that. Check it out. And also, it hints at a little bit of there's a Louis Vuitton Al Hassard fragrance. I have a video comparing the 3 fragrances together. Check that video out. But this is unique. It has a very laundry, fresh, clean smell, even though it's all about sandalwood and Cypriol with Neroli. So there's a crunchy element to the notes in here. The sandalwood is not the creamy variety. It's more of a crunchy and chipped woody kind of an experience rather than smooth and milky sandalwood. But great. It smells very, very clean and fresh. It's very, very classy, and I love it. So this is Century from the House of Dunhill. Check it out. So this next one is from the House of Banana Republic. This is 78 Vintage Green. Now here we go with a very, very fresh version of a fragrance to wear in the spring. So we'll leave this one for probably the warmer days. I feel like this comes alive in the heat more. And this is a very, very fun, fresh green fragrance. It's called 78 Vintage Green. You're going to know what you're going to get. It's got lots of bergamot, lots of tea. There's lots of green notes here, and the freak fruit, mandarin orange, and more citruses. It's really, really a wonderful fragrance. It's got, I think they put down that it's green notes, but I feel like there's fig leaf or fig tree note along with the fig fruit note. So you get a nice combination of the leaves of the fig tree and the fruit together. So it's fruity, green, fresh, lovely. It's tea too, so the combination just works great. I think this still to be, for me, is my favorite from the house. And then lately, you saw my other video recently for the Banana Republic's 4 fragrances. The Tonka bean and the tobacco is also very nice. So this is 78 Vintage Green from the House of Banana Republic. So this next fragrance is from the House of TOUS. This is 1920, the original. So this is ultra classy, and it's heavy on the cardamom with cumin and cedar, bergamot, and There's some tea in there, and there's some patchouli note in there as well. It does hint at a little bit of Cartier's Declaration. It's a little different. Maybe I feel like the difference is the tea note adds a kind of a liquidy, kind of drippy element to the fragrance. I don't know if that's making sense to you, but there's something more flowy and running through it. Even though it's a woody fragrance, an aromatic, spicy fragrance, I feel like it's a little different than the Cartier. But when you smell them, you do smell similarities. But it's classy, and I feel like even though it's a little on the heavier side, it's still appropriate for spring because it's not overly strong, but still has the legs to it. So wear it in the cooler parts of spring or cooler days of spring. So it's TOUS 1920, the original. I love that one. It does remind me of the Cartier, but it's different. All right, we're going to the House of Chanel, and Chanel has 2 fragrances on this list, and Chanel doesn't crank out fragrances. They're always doing their fragrances very slowly, so it takes them a while to get a fragrance, and they haven't launched a new men's fragrance, not a flanker, but a new men's fragrance since 2010 when they launched Bleu de Chanel. We don't have Bleu de Chanel on this list, but we do have Egoiste. It is more of a heavier fragrance again, but I feel like it's appropriate for spring. It could be worn all year round, maybe a little too strong for summer, but the woodiness I think in here, along with the cinnamon and the rose, is a nice meshing with the sandalwood. So this is all about cinnamon, sandalwood, rose, tobacco, rosewood, vanilla. I feel like there's also some ambrette seed in here to give it a musky edge to it, but the combination is quite original, and it takes me back to when I first wore this fragrance, way back to the late 80s, somewhere around 87, 88. At that time it was called Bois something, I'm drawing a blank, but they renamed it to Egoiste. But it's a classic that never goes out of style. I feel like I could have included Egoiste Platinum or Platinum Egoiste in here, but I wanted to go with this one because I feel like this one's a little better than Platinum Egoiste. What do you think? Do you like this one, or do you prefer Platinum Egoiste more? Let me know. But this is Egoiste, a wonderful, classy, masculine men's fragrance that's perfect for spring from the House of Chanel. And then this next one is from the House of Chanel again. It's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. I can never get tired of this. I used to wear it a long time ago, and then I gave up on it. I got really bored of it, and I discovered Edition Blanche, and then I came back to this one because I really was like craving it. There's something salty in here because of the marine notes. It's salty with tonka beans. The combination is very, very unique. And then there's mandarin orange. There's some mint in there. There's lots of musk. A truly wonderful release, and I feel like it's perfect for spring. Sport fragrances are not my favorite style, but this one really does work. This is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. Check it out if you don't know it. It's a wonderful designer that never goes out of style for me. So this next one is from the House of Gucci. This is Gucci Guilty Pour Homme Love Edition. Here we have ginger, kumquat, rosemary, vetiver, geranium. It's one that has really grown on me, and as I said, in my video that I did of the latest, greatest designer fragrances that I've picked up, I did mention that there was something really like a cheap smelling under there, something synthetic, but I've grown to still enjoy that one. Even though it's not a groundbreaking fragrance, it does have a very soft, gingery quality to it, even though I find ginger to be very zingy and sharp and, you know, like bitter and like spicy. The spiciness is completely removed here, even though you have that ginger in there, along with kumquat. And over the weekend I was having lots of kumquat. My mom grows kumquats, and I feel like kumquats can be bitter and citrusy and tart. Ginger can be spicy and all those good things that I was telling you about, but I feel like they've softened up those notes and gave us a softer rendition of those notes rather than a full-on in-your-face ginger and kumquat. There's also rosemary. Again, the rosemary in here is also very soft. It's not very bitter because rosemary can be very, very pungent and herbal, and all of that stuff is mentioned as notes, but they're not there, you know, like the more very, very intense variety. Anyway, it's still a wonderful release. There's a fizzy quality to it, and it's a kind of like a ginger ale kind of a style. But it's fine. I think it's perfect for spring as well. So this is Gucci Guilty Pour Homme Love Edition. The next one is another Gucci, and this is Gucci Guilty Cologne, Pour Homme Cologne. Now this one actually I prefer a little more than the other. It's a very, very unique combination of notes. It's very juniper heavy with lots of almondy heliotrope. violet, and then cypress, rosemary, and musk. Now, a lot of people hate this one because I think it's just not a very common smell or traditional smell in men's fragrances. That's kind of why I like it, because I've smelled everything else so much. Give me something original. And this one seems original, although it does hint back at classic fragrances as well. Maybe that's why a lot of people don't like it. I love it. It's great for spring actually as well. But you gotta like powdery, because this one does have powdery touches. Anyway, Gucci Guilty Pour Homme Cologne is wonderful, release from the house of Gucci. This next one is from the house of Robert Graham, and this is Valor, this one right here. So good, this one. This is so good. It's all about sage, coffee, and amber. Now again, this is more of a stronger fragrance, so wear it in the cooler days, or a little goes a long way in the spring. But that sage combined with the coffee and the amber together is wonderful. There's an aromatic green vibe along with like a coffee, and you know, vetiver and coffee has been done together before. Lavender and coffee has been done together before. Why not sage and coffee? And it really does work here. It's a great scent. In fact, this one, Valor and the Fortitude, are really awesome, niche quality designer fragrances from the house of Robert Graham. Check it out. It's Valor from Robert Graham. 5 more left. And I'm going to give you one freebie as well. Not a freebie, but one honorable mention. But this is from the house of Tom Ford. It's Grey Vetiver, this one right here. Grey Vetiver is a classy, masculine vetiver fragrance from the house of Tom Ford. This is an EDP version. At one point they released an EDT. I can't remember if they still have it. I don't understand why they were doing that, because the EDP itself felt like it was not as strong. But it's a great vetiver. There's lots of vetiver here, along with a citrusy grapefruit. There's a little zinginess to the grapefruit. Woody notes, oak moss, orange blossom. I love this one. It has a very vetiver soapy quality to it too. I don't know if you guys get that, but the notes together are great. I think this vetiver fragrance will not go out of style. It's Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. Check it out. If you don't know it, get yourself a sample to see. This next one is from the house of Tom Ford again. It's BOTTEGA. And here I've spoken about this one. In fact, yesterday I did a comparison video with the BOTTEGA and Sartorial. And BOTTEGA is a ultra lavender balm. In fact, they've had multiple varieties of lavender featured as top notes in this fragrance, and it screams lavender. It's a lot lavendery with lots of other what do you call it? With lots of other herbal aromatic notes, but you also have some patchouli here. You've got rosemary, mint, amber, some oak moss. The combination is amazing. I think it's a great release. It's a lavender balm, I would say, and it smells very aromatic. It's abrasive a little bit. It's sharp, but if you like lavender and herbs, you got to get your nose on BOTTEGA from the house of Tom Ford. It's a phenomenal release. I'm glad they have it. This next one, I fell in love with it kind of slow. I had given up on this collection from the house of Burberry. In fact, I don't speak about Burberry much on this channel, but I discovered it later, and I'm like, wow, this is a great mint fragrance. This is Mr. Burberry Indigo, and you gotta like mint. I'm very picky with mint, and I really do like the mint in here. It's mint, rosemary, violet, lemon, water notes, or watery notes, oak moss, sage. So it's an aromatic green fragrance with a kind of a, not aquatic as in marine or seaweed, but aquatic notes of water. And the combination is very flowy and runny, and it's light and airy, but lots of aromatics, and very green. If you like green fragrances and herbal and aromatic fragrances, not necessarily fougere like Tom Ford, or there's no lavender here, give it a try. It's perfect for spring, I think, this one. It's Mr. Burberry Indigo from the house of Burberry. I believe that's created by Francis Kirkjian, because he does those fragrances for Burberry. This next one is from the house of Dior, and this is a classic, and a lot of you might not like this one. This is Jules, this one right here. Jules is a fragrance from the 80s that was resurrected about 4 years ago, and it's a manly fragrance. It's really manly. This one's definitely not unisex, but you know, it's women do wear. I have friends that love this one. In fact, 2 of my friends really like this one, and they're women, and so it depends on what you like. It's slightly animalic. It's got lots of oak moss, leather, there's musk, there's fir, lavender, carnation, rose, cumin. It's very classic. It just reminds me of the early 80s powerhouses in a Dior way, but very sexy. Jules, or Jules, from the house of Dior. I should say Jules. I think the S is silent at the end. This next one is from the house of, if I can find it, here. This next one is from the house of Dior again. This is Eau Sauvage Extreme. So the extreme aromatic version of Eau Sauvage, which the original goes citrusy, this one goes more aromatic with lavender, lots of herbs, so it's intensified with those herbal notes and less citruses, whereas original Eau Sauvage is more citruses. There's also the the vetiver here along with the lavender, so the combination is a little more woody aromatic. But the citruses are there, but not as amped up as it is in the original Eau Sauvage. If you don't know this one, do check it out. I really do like this one. It's a different take on the original Eau Sauvage, and it's totally different than the Parfum version too as well. So this is Eau Sauvage Extreme from the house of Dior. And that's the end of the list, but every single one of these fragrances was a male targeted fragrance, but this particular one I was going to include, but I knew it was unisex, so I decided to just offer it up as a alternative or an honorable mention. This is from the house of Hermes, and it's a house I don't speak much about, and this is Voyage de Hermes in the Parfum edition, this one right here. If you guys like cardamom, in fact this is a cardamom bomb. In fact, this is probably the best cardamom fragrance out there from a designer. It's phenomenal. It smells like real cardamom out of a jar of cardamom pods. Lots of cardamom, lemon, there's spices, woody notes, and tea. A phenomenal release. It's like smelling lots of cardamom with tea and lemons. Just really wonderful. But the tea and the lemons, as I'm saying, are not as strong as the actual cardamom because it just smells like that really, really spicy cardamom smell. It's wonderful. It's an honorable mention. Again, this is a unisex targeted fragrance. Everything else I spoke about today are for men, but here we have a unisex one. Anyway, those are my fragrances for today. What are your thoughts about these fragrances? Have you sampled these? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know. Put some comments down so I can find out, and let me know what you guys are wearing this spring from the designers so I can find out, and if it's something new I can pick up and speak about later in a video. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.